The Senate chamber became momentarily sober on Thursday as lawmakers took up a motion titled Urgent Need to Correct Misconceptions Regarding the Purported Christian Genocide Narrative in Nigeria and in the international community. The motion, sponsored by concerned lawmakers, sought to push back against what it described as false and dangerous claims being circulated across some international platforms, claims suggesting targeted religious persecution in Nigeria.
While Nigeria faces security challenges, these are not defined by religion alone, but by complex mix of terrorism, criminality, and social economic factors.
This matter, on this motion, Mr. President, there is need to engage knowledge. Let's refer back to executive session at appropriate time to discuss and evaluate terrorist strategy. Then we will be able to define counter-terrorism strategy that we will adopt to make. It's not a matter of Christian or Muslim or whatever. Once we do this, we have a better way to go.
The Nigerian Senate says it will take a cautious and diplomatic approach in addressing growing international misconceptions. The lawmakers also agreed to step down debate on the motion to another legislative day, opting instead for an executive session where the matter will be discussed behind closed doors, given its sensitivity and potential diplomatic implications.
People must have gone there to give a one-sided story. And at the end, it will now look as if only Christians are being killed by terrorists in Nigeria. But I can tell you that a lot of Muslims have lost their lives in the last 5-10 years. The same way Christians have also lost their lives. So my personal opinion is that Nigerians have lost their lives as a result of insurgencies, banditry, and others.
We now step down further consideration of this motion, especially the prayers, till the next legislative day, which is Tuesday next week, when we can have our executive session, to discuss these prayers as well as other related matters, and also our impending security summit.
The Senate also agreed to constitute an ad hoc committee that will interface with the United States Congress, international partners, and Nigerian diaspora organizations through briefings, publications, and interparliamentary dialogue to present verified information and correct false narratives. TJSU Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Now joining us in the studio this morning is the Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Public Account, and also the Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Onyekachi Nwebonyi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
All right, sir. I took the newspaper headline earlier, looking at there's a planned defection to the APC from Enugu State, the governor, and some lawmakers are moving to the state, to the APC on Tuesday. What do you make of this development?
Well, to us as APC family, is a welcome development. To the good people of Enugu State, led by the governor, that was very thoughtful of him, because APC is the only party that can win election today in Southeast. PDP in the past had failed the people of Southeast, and that is why even before the 2023 general election, there was a mass exodus outside PDP to APC and Labour Party. So as of today, PDP has no place in Southeast.
You sound so confident saying that the APC will win
of course.
The election in the South. We saw the performance in the 2023 election. It was not that encouraging for your party.
Yes.
But let's just move away from that. Let's move on to...
we're going to do better this time around.
Well, we hope to see how better the APC will prove.
You can see it. You can see the movement into APC. Before 2020 general election, we had only 2 states. That is Ebonyi and Imo. Today we now have Enugu. And moreover, the people of Southeast have realized our mistakes in politics. And this time around, we are going to set the record straight, because we've discovered that no man can crown himself. For an Igbo man to be president, we need the support of the South, West. We need the support of the Northwest, Northeast. So no man can crown himself. So we want to align, with the power at the center, so that at the right time, we can say, please remember Southeast. and Nigerians will jointly hear us.
All right, distinguished, let's go to our main first of discussion this morning, talking about the alleged Christian genocide in the country. The Senate, the House of Reps, both chambers are speaking tough concerning, they're saying there's no genocide in Nigeria. But the details, the figures, and the killings in the country, especially in Plateau, Benue, what do you make of this development at this time?
Well, it was yesterday that a motion came through one of us, Senator Ali Ndume, to correct that impression, because to me, it's a very wrong impression being created by the U.S. Senate through one of them by name Senator Ted Cruz, who came up on 9th of September with a bill seeking to classify Nigeria as a country of particular concern, regarding violation of freedom of religion. But you and I know that that is not true. Yes, the fact remains that Nigeria is challenged security-wise, but this is affecting both Christians and Muslims, including the pagans. So for one to try to box it towards Christians, genocide towards Christians, is politics taken too far. And I think that as Nigerians, we have to rise to the occasion to correct this impression. And that is why we came up with that motion a few days back in Nigerian Senate to say no, this is not true. The position of the U.S. Senate, of course, they have not even formed the position, it's just a bill from one of them. And in the course of deliberating our motions, we resolved that we have to engage them more constructively and to let them know what is happening in Nigeria. What is happening in Nigeria is a case of a common enemy to humanity, ravaging the country. But we'll thank God for a competent and courageous president in the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is tackling this menace headlong.
But Senator, the reality is that most of the people who are killed are Christians more than Muslims. What do you make of that?
That is not true. That is not proven. There is no confirmed statistics from security agencies or from Department of Statistics, confirming this. This is a very serious allegation. You can't just get up and talk. We're not doing politics. This is security.
Yes.
This is people's life. Yes.
Well, many times when you open the newspaper, you see something about churches. One church is burnt down.
Sure.
Remember what happened in...
Sure. No one can deny that. Many Christians are victims of this insecurity. If you look at what's happening in Plateau, look at what is happening in Benue. The point is that where Christians dominate, of course, majority of the casualties will be Christians. But look at what is also happening in Burundi, where mosques have been bombed. Look at what's happening in Zamfara, where people in the mosques are also being killed. So it's difficult for you to say that only Christians are being killed.
I didn't say only Christians.
No, both Christians and Muslims are being killed. But for you to authoritatively say that this number is higher than this number, I'm telling you today that we don't have such information as a nation and as a parliament. If there is, I can tell you, because I'm a Christian too. So if you kill a Christian, you're killing my faith. So, but we must set the record straight. What is happening in Nigeria is not genocide targeted on Christians. It's a general case of insecurity, and the international community should help Nigeria to fight this, deadly scourge than playing politics.
Distinguished, let's speak to some of the facts and figures. We saw what transpired in Plateau, in Benue, how people were killed. What do you make of this? Then why do we wait till the U.S. Senator raised the alarm that everyone now, from the Senate, the House of Reps, are now jumping at this? What do you think the government should be doing to do right to ensure that the lives and property of Nigerians are sacrosanct?
Thank you. That is our constitutional mandate. In fact, number one of them all, to protect life and property. But you agree with me that when President Tinubu came on board, this problem of insecurity was on the rise. But a few months later, we started seeing the difference. For example, starting with the Federal Capital Territory, when we came on board as senators in Abuja, we were seeing cases of kidnapping, even within the Abuja suburban. But months later, when the government took up fully, it discovered that those things are now things of the past. So the present government is doing everything possible. The Nigerian army is doing everything possible. The Nigerian police is on top of it. And that is why the killings in those areas you mentioned, you agree with me that
a lot of Nigerians are tired of hearing Nigerian police, we are on top. It's becoming a rhetoric
yes.
that
but you agree with me. But you agree with me when you look at what happened the past 1 year and the security situation today, you agree with me that the government is working. It's not a fault of the government. They have been there. It's not only applicable in Nigeria. Most of the countries in West African states and even beyond are in chaos. So it's a global problem. But the point I'm trying to tell you today, which Nigerians have appreciated, is that the present government is tackling this problem headlong. And we are seeing the result because they're all practical things, you can see. But I want to assure you that even before the first term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians will see significant reduction in insecurity in Nigeria. I give you my word.
Well, it is a promise coming from you.
Yes.
You are the Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Public Accounts. Do you have data of those who were killed in some of the states, especially in Benue? Because you said there's no data. Have you taken time to also make some findings on this?
Well, instead of taking data, I think we should be more concerned as government in solving the problem than information gathering. However, there are departments that have such responsibility. The security agencies are there. As a media house, you can write the police, we need social information. You can write to Chief of Defense Staff, we need social information. But our concern as leaders in Nigeria today is how to solve this problem once and for all. And I want to assure Nigeria that this present government will solve this problem to a reasonable level.
What steps is the Senate taking to tackle this bill by Ted Cruz?
Thank you so very much. Well, like we debated and we passed a resolution that we are going to engage, the U.S. Senate, in trying to set them right as to what is happening in Nigeria.
A delegation will be sent there.
Definitely.
So what do you feel as justice to those victims whose father, mother, children have been killed in the country?
Well, it's a very pathetic situation, and all of us feel bad about it. As government, we are doing our best through the relevant agencies to make sure that families are being catered for, and necessary provisions are being made. But most importantly, is to forestall further occurrence of all these killings. That is our major concern as government. But through relevant ministries, through NEMA, humanitarian ministries, have always been on ground, to give immediate assistance to these victims of this common enemy to humanity.
So what's the call from the lawmakers in Nigeria to ensure there is peace and harmony in the country, not to bring this issue of the Christian-Muslim blame game that we're seeing at the moment?
Our call, like we resolved in that motion, is that all hands must be on deck to fight this deadly scourge that is ravaging Nigeria. We also charge the security agencies, to rise to the occasion, and very soon we are going to engage them in a very comprehensive security summit, where most of these issues will be ironed out. And if the security agencies are facing some challenges, which we failed, they don't, because in the course of their last year budget, we took reasonable steps to make sure that all their demands are met to provide Nigerians with the security, which is their fundamental responsibility as security agencies.
The president is speaking to, just a moment, Banke, I'll let you speak now. The president is speaking to about the state police. Do you see that as the way forward to be able to nip in bud some of the security challenges that we have in the country?
Yes, state police will help. I've said it several times that it's going to complement the effort of the federal police in tackling this problem, because this is security is local, and it's only the people within the area that knows the route. So it's advisable that we try state police, even though many have argued that state police may be abused by the state chief executive But to me, I feel that with necessary legal instrument controlling their responsibilities, I don't think it will be abused. So it's a welcome development. I support Mr. President. I'm in the same chapter with him regarding the establishment of state police.
I'll take you back to your previous response. You said all hands on deck. What is the place of the citizens?
The citizens should give information. The citizens should stop speaking ill of the government of the day. The citizens should show more spirit of patriotism. Pray for your country. Support your leaders. Governance is not easy. Especially when you're not the one on that seat. So let's pray for our president. Let's pray for our governors. Let's pray for our lawmakers. We should stop speaking ill, about our leaders, because leaders come from God. If God don't want you to lead Nigeria, you can't be president of Nigeria. But when God has made somebody president, let's support him. Let's pray for him, because the job is not easy. And the man, I've always described him as a man who thinks outside the box. For example, look at how he has just increased our economic base, by making sure that our tax base, is strengthened. Because it's only when the tax base is strengthened that the economy can boom. Do you understand? Because a country with mono economy, it goes nowhere. So President Tinubu is doing what if other past presidents had done, Nigeria by now would have been doing better. So this is the time we now have a man who understands the economy, who understands politics, who understands how to use 1 naira to create 10 naira. So it's a welcome development, and Nigerians should support him. If Tinubu should handle Nigeria for 8 years, definitely, even the opposition will clap for him.
It's not time to start doing campaign, but...
no, we're not campaigning. I'm just saying, I said if, which is possible.
Some have criticized that we've seen all these figures, but it's yet to manifest in the life of ordinary Nigerians.
It's already manifesting.
But
it's already manifesting. Go to the market. What was the cost of 50 kg of rice in last 1 year or last 2 years? It was about within 100,000. But today with 60, 70,000, you can buy 50 kg of rice. In my state, Ebonyi State, a bushel of rice before now was between 40 to 50,000. But today, you can get a bushel of rice with 22,000.
Some will tell you that same bag of rice some years back, we were buying it for about 30, 25,000.
15,000.
Yes, you must not throw away the permanent, what I can describe as economic variables. Inflation must be there, but when it becomes outrageous, that is when people will cry out, like it's happened in the last 2 years. But with the economic policies in place, in area of agriculture, incentives were given to farmers to go to farm. Of course, there was food on the table. Now the price of the food has to come down. Now, when in the last 2 years, the first program I did was to give agricultural inputs to farmers. I targeted 2,000 farmers and I monitored them. As I'm telling you today, those farmers today are all millionaires because all of them get over 100 bags of rice annually.
Let me quickly get your reaction.
That is the way to go.
Absolutely. Let me quickly get your reaction on the Minister of Works talking about the coastal way. That's the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway.
Yes,
we saw a governor in the same country, that's Governor Seyi Makinde, saying, why will a minister be asked, what is a square kilometer? How much does it cost? And is a bit rambling, not giving the accurate figure. What do you make of this? Because you're talking about that the president is doing well. What do you make of some of the infrastructure development that we are seeing at the moment in the country?
Well, first and foremost, I want to commend the Minister of Works. Because if you are honest to yourself as a Nigerian, you will agree with me that this is the very first time we are having a competent engineer, a professional as a Minister of Works. Why do I say so? If you are not informed, you may be de-informed. I've worked with Senator Mahi. I worked under him as his party chairman. I worked under him as his commissioner. So I know the man. Is somebody who has the same spirit with the president, is a result-oriented person. So when I saw, one of the anchor person on Arise, trying to, be hard on the man, I was laughing because he doesn't know who is Senator Mahe. This is a man that has proven capacity. If you look at the quality of job he's doing, you will see that he's an engineer extraordinary. So even when he called himself a professor of engineering, he's a professor of engineering in equity. Because I've never seen any engineer in Nigeria that can beat Senator Engineer David Umahi. Not because he's from APC, not because he was my boss, not because he's from Ebonyi State, but these are facts. Remember, when he came on board, he introduced this concrete road technology. No government has ever tried it. He tried it in Ebonyi State, it's working. All the roads he did as governor on concrete are all standing without any iota of failure. What he's doing on the coastal road, Nigerians can see that this road can last for over 100 years. No government has ever done this. No government from 1914, when Nigeria was amalgamated, had the courage, to embark on over 5,000 kilometers at once across the nation. So we must give it to him.
We need to bring you back to talk more about some of the infrastructure developments that we're seeing at the moment in the country.
It's okay.
Thanks so much for joining us, Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Public Accounts, and also the Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Onyekachi Nwebonyi. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having me
on the program this morning, distinguished. Now, still ahead on TVC Breakfast Saturday, we now turn our attention to Ekiti State, where 2 contenders have been disqualified from the APC governorship primaries. Stay with us. Do not go anywhere.